Hi, I'm Sue Ann Cordell, and I thank you so much for stopping by my podcast today. You know, this week has been really interesting to me. Several of the people that I've talked to have just felt so overwhelmed. I would say, "How are you doing?" And they would be like, "I feel so stressed and I feel so anxious about everything right now." And I think part of it is because school has just started back. A lot of the parents are just busy getting their kids back into a regular routine. Some of them have added more responsibility because they're in more programs after school. But there's a lot going on that people are feeling very anxious about. So today, I thought I would just pull out my Simplify book. I wrote this several years ago, and I want to just share some things from this book. First of all, I'm just going to ask you a few questions. Do you feel that your life is out of control? Do you feel frazzled? Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you avoid opening closet doors for fear of an avalanche? Do you hide when someone shows up at your house unexpectedly? Do you find yourself falling asleep during your favorite television show due to exhaustion? Here's another one. Do you find yourself digging through the dryer looking for socks and underwear most every morning for someone in the family? Do your children have the number to the pizza delivery person and company memorized? Do you find yourself running late most of the time? Do you receive late notices in the mail because you forgot to pay the bills? Whew. I could say yes to several of those. How about you? Well, if you answered yes to one or more of these questions, I'm wanting you to know today that you are not alone. It's that time of year when we all feel overwhelmed. But I wanted to talk today about how we might be able to lighten our load just a little bit. My grandmother, her name was Irene Taylor, was such an amazing woman. And she used to tell me stories about the experiences that she had during the Great Depression. It took place in this country many years ago, and her father was a very successful business owner, and he lost everything as a result of the economic crisis during that time. Fortunately, my grandmother had just completed the Florence Nightingale School of Nursing program, and she had a job at the hospital in Johnson City, Tennessee. She was the only one in the family that had a job, and everyone depended on her for food, shelter, and clothing. After surviving such a horrible experience, she always felt the need to store canned goods in the pantry, meats in the smokehouse, clothes and shoes in every closet. And at the age of 62, she was forced to retire. Now, if mandatory retirement had not been in force at that time, she would have continued working, mainly because she wanted to make sure that she never had to run out of anything again, just in case a depression were to strike. Now, I can understand why my grandmother would feel this way, but for most of us, we hold on to our stuff for other reasons, don't we? We are experiencing stuff overload, and life is everything but simple when this happens. Now, I know there are a lot of things going on in our lives, but I want you to just think a little bit today about your stuff, because it can also cause us to be overwhelmed and feel anxious from time to time. So I'm going to ask you about some more questions here. Consider how much stuff you have. I'm going to read some things on a list, and if you can relate to this, just put a little check mark if you're not driving right now, and just think about what it is that you are holding on to. Do you have a storage shed? Do you have more than one? Do you have an attic? 2 ice cream freezers, boxes of jigsaw puzzles. How about expired coupons? Broken furniture, boxed up trophies, unmatched socks, outdated wardrobe, clothes that no longer fit. Do you have a basement filled with stuff? More than one lawnmower? Once used glue gun? Old magazines? How about old purses? Plastic flowers? Dead tennis balls? Exercise equipment that's piled up with clothes? Worn out shoes? Unused craft supplies? Those old bread machines that we used to all use that are tucked in a cabinet now? How about old pairs of glasses? Dried up pens? Broken toys? Do you have any of those things piled up at your house? I know I have some things that I need to take care of, that's for sure. Well, this list could go on, and it can be quite a chore to store and protect so many possessions. Do you agree? You've probably wondered why you do it or what you can do about it. It can be comforting to know you have something for every occasion, right? I mean, let's just think about it. If your lawnmower were to break, you would have a backup lawnmower, right? So you'd say, I just need to keep it. I can justify that. Or you have some wicker furniture that you put up in the attic when you bought your new sofa and chairs, and they're still just sitting in the attic. Or what about your laundry room? You have a bicycle helmet on the wall. You don't have a bicycle, but you may want to buy a bike sometime. And if you do, well, you already have your helmet, right? Well, I don't know about you, but if I buy a new bicycle, more than likely, I'm probably going to want to buy a new helmet too. And then, do you really think that you're going to wear those clothes again that you have in the closet that are too small for you now? Even if you were to lose those 30 pounds, would you really wear those clothes again, or would you want to get new ones? So the problem that I see that we all face when we have so much stuff is that the volume and clutter begin to take over. We no longer have control of the stuff. You know what happens? The stuff has now taken control of us. So this is one of the things that I think can cause us to be anxious and to feel overwhelmed. So I want to encourage you to take a look around and give yourself a good talking to if you need to take charge of your stuff again. What if you just take a little time? You know how we talk about blocking our time on our calendars for certain things? What if you could just block a little bit of time, maybe each weekend or at night, just an hour of your time for as long as it takes to go through your stuff. Maybe donate the clothes to Goodwill, Thrift Smart, Salvation Army, to some families down the road from you that have children that could wear the clothes that your children have outgrown. What if you decided to go through the broken toys and maybe just take a big trash can and fill it full of the broken toys and send them on their way? I don't know about you, but when I do take the time to clean out the clutter, oh, it feels good. I can walk into that room and I feel like a complete different person when I do that. But I'm the only one that can really make it happen. So I need to take the time to simplify my schedule so that I can go through and take care of that. You know, the puzzles that were listed on here, what if you took those to, say, a retirement center or to a 50-plus place where people go in and they spend time together putting puzzles together. I know that the McDonald's house also collects things like that from people. So if you have things like that you're not using and it's just piling up in the corner, or you can't even walk through the room because you have so many of those in the room, why not donate those? I think that would be very helpful for a lot of people. Have a yard sale. The money that you make off of that, let somebody else take it and put it into their clutter instead of you having it in your clutter. You will enjoy a wonderful freedom that will enable you to simplify your life. But it's going to take a little bit of time to do that, that's for sure. Now, there's nothing wrong with having stuff. It's fun to collect things, isn't it? But when it becomes stuff overload, it's very easy to lose sight of the important things in life. You get so much clutter in your life that it can take away from your spiritual growth. It can take away from relationships with your family and friends. Just because you've got so much stuff you've got to deal with and take care of. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention today. Now, unless you make an effort to control your accumulation of possessions, remember that your possessions will eventually control you. So I want to talk about one other thing today under lightening our load. Stuff is definitely something that can overwhelm us if we have too much of it. But there's one other area that I would love to talk about today, and that's debt overload. It's an area that can really complicate our lives, can't it? Well, my grandmother learned some very valuable lessons about money as she was experiencing life in the Great Depression. One of the things that she learned was to live on less than she made. She learned to save for the things she wanted. Even though she worked hard for her money, she lived a simple life. My grandmother was an exceptional woman. I wish you could all have met her. She went through a divorce in the 1940s. She worked outside the home and raised 2 boys as a single mom. Now, she did all of this at the time when most women were looked down on for working outside the home. With all her heartaches and struggles, she never lost sight of the most important thing in her life, her relationship with God, and that was always the top priority for her. And I am so grateful for that because she passed that legacy along to me. Now, there was a time in this country where if you needed a house, you built it. If you needed clothes, you made them. If you wanted bread, you baked it. Very few people live that way anymore. The problem is that we've taken things to the other extreme. Now, if we need a house, we finance it for 30 years. If we need clothes, what do? We pull out the credit card, right? If we want bread, we pull out the credit card or the debit card. We work hard for the things we have, but by the time we have them paid for, they're worn out or obsolete. I saw a bumper sticker once that read, I owe, so off to work I go. When we work just to pay the bills and continue to get deeper in debt, what happens is we find ourselves in debt overload. How do we lighten that load? Living a debt-free life will allow you to control your money instead of allowing your money to control you. I don't know if you've ever heard of Mary Hunt, but I really love the advice that she gives. And I want to read something to you today that really impacted me several years ago that I'd like to share with you. Mary Hunt is the creator of Cheapskate Monthly Newsletter, and this is some of the advice that she has given. She says, "It is never too late to start again. I couldn't possibly tell you how many times I fell flat on my financial face and had to start again." Can you relate to that? Actually, I could list those pitfalls, but it would be too embarrassing, she says. Let me just say that for listen to this, nearly 20 New Year's Eves in a row, my resolution was to get out of debt and fix my money problems. Now, if you're in that boat right now, you're not alone. Obviously, she's gone through that. A lot of other people have too, but here's what she says. Did I tell anyone? No. Did I follow through? Well, that depends on what you mean by follow through. If 1 week of not using a credit card counts, then the answer would be a couple of times. I made the same promise year after year after year and failed year after year after year. My point is, it doesn't matter now that I failed so many times, and I want you to hear this very loudly and very clearly. What matters is that I finally got it right. If you're in that situation right now, don't beat yourself up. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start all over again. Well, here's what else she had to say about this. I wish I could say that my New Year's resolution stuck on the first try, but that wasn't it at all. It was 1982, and my family was horribly in debt. So see, this isn't a new problem. Just barely hanging on by my fingernails. In a last-ditch effort, we attempted to become self-employed by joining a distribution organization that turned out to be a little more than a scam. That became our final plunge into the dark abyss of financial devastation. Unemployed, and with our home ready to be foreclosed, we came to the end. There was no place to turn, no more credit to be had. The unsecured debt I'd amassed was in the, are you ready for this? 6 figures. Whew. Yep. She says, you read that right. And that's when I made a decision, a promise. And here was her promise. I will do anything to pay back all of the debt and do whatever I must to change my horrible spendthrift ways. And here's what they did. She says, we did pay back every single dime of that horrible debt, including all the interest and penalties. We did not lose our home. I never worked so hard in my entire life. We did not claim bankruptcy. I became content, and this is really interesting. Listen to this. I became content as paying off debts energized me and kept me going. And I love what she says next. And now, the joy and passion of my life is to encourage, teach, and lead others to do the same. It doesn't matter how many times you've tried in the past to stop your out-of-control spending. Start saving and get out of debt. What matters now is that you know and believe with all your heart that you can get it right this time. You can get out of debt. You can build an emergency nest egg even while you are in debt. You can be prepared for the future. What a testimony. If you are feeling overwhelmed right now and you feel like you are just overloaded with stuff, overloaded with debt, why don't you just try to sit down for just a few minutes, take a deep breath, and realize you're not alone in this. There are people out there that have gone through this and they're on the other side. They have survived it. You can too. And if you need to get help in these areas, reach out to us at Shineworthy Lifestyles. We can offer resources for you. We do have some coaching on our own that we could do for you. I'm not a financial counselor, but I have helped a lot of people in the past get out of debt. I've put plans together for them that have been successful plans that have helped them with this. And I must be honest with you, the reason I know how to do this is because I didn't do it right to start with either. I had to learn the hard way, just like so many other people. So I can help you with that as well if that's something that you're interested in. But I want you to know that you're not alone in this situation, and it doesn't make you a terrible person. But it will give you so much more joy if you can just get this under control. When paying off your debts, aggressively pay off the smallest one first. You'll get a sense of accomplishment from getting those out of the way early. And here's something that I love that Billy Graham has to say. If a person gets their attitude toward money straight, it will help straighten out almost every other area in their life. This was a heavy topic today. The stuff that you have that's cluttering up your house or cluttering up your garage. Oh, here's a question for you on garages. Do you use your garage for cars? Most people don't. I drive by neighborhoods all the time where some people have even 3-door garages, and their cars are all parked outside. I can only imagine what's in those garages instead of cars. But if you can get those things under control, it really can give you a peace of mind in so many areas of your life. So I want to challenge you this week to just look around, examine some of the reasons that you might be feeling overwhelmed, and start exploring ways to simplify your life. Let's lighten the load as much as possible. Here's the thought for this week. Freeing yourself of unneeded possessions will make it easier to utilize and enjoy the possessions you decide to keep. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know this was a heavy topic, but I do want you to know that if you can simplify your life, you will have so much more joy when you wake up in the mornings. Thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.